You forgot life is a gift, not because you are ungrateful, but because you got distracted. You were born with breath, with awareness, with presence, but somewhere along the way, you traded presence for pressure. You started chasing things rather than appreciating moments. Look around. The birds still sing, the trees still grow, the sun still rises, but do you stop to notice them anymore? In this fast, moving world, we rush to work, rush to succeed, rush to become. But in the race to be someone, we forget we already are. What is the value of your breath? What is the value of a day that begins with no pain in the body? What is the value of having eyes to see, ears to hear, a mind to think? You only remember life as precious when it's threatened, when illness strikes, when someone you love is gone, when you are reminded of how temporary this existence is. But do not wait for tragedy to remember the treasure. The true monk does not pray only in storms, he prays in the sunshine too. Life is the ultimate gift. It is wrapped in uncertainty, tied with the ribbon of impermanence, and yet it is enough. You are here, you are breathing, you are alive. Don't forget that. Every day you wake up, you are given another chance to start again, to forgive, to heal, to grow. Instead of asking, what did I achieve today? Ask, did I appreciate today? Return to the breath, return to the silence within, return to the awareness that this moment, this very second is alive, and so are you. The gift is not in the goals, the gift is in your gaze, it's in how you look at the world. A wise one once said, the miracle is not to walk on water, but to walk on the earth with open eyes. Stop sleepwalking through life, wake up, come back to the present, and when you do, you'll realize you were never missing anything. You had the gift all along. In today's world, the pace of life has accelerated beyond what the human spirit was ever meant to endure. From the moment we open our eyes, we're bombarded, not just with information, but with expectations. Notifications, deadlines, news headlines, responsibilities. They all shout louder than our own inner voice. And in the middle of all this noise, something quietly slips away, our awareness of life as a miracle. We wake up and immediately reach for our phones, not to appreciate a new day, but to check messages, updates, or tasks. We don't pause to feel the warmth of the morning sun on our face, or the way our lungs inflate with air that requires no permission to flow. These small, sacred experiences become invisible, not because they lack power, but because our attention has been hijacked by the demands of modern life. Distraction is not just a nuisance, it is a thief. It steals our sense of wonder. It dulls our appreciation for the present. Instead of being present with our meals, we eat while scrolling. Instead of sitting in silence and noticing our thoughts, we drown them out with constant input, music, videos, podcasts, anything to keep us from facing the stillness. But the pressure to succeed is perhaps an even heavier burden. Society teaches us that our value lies in our productivity, in how much we accomplish, in what we own or achieve. We measure our worth by titles, salaries, and social media recognition. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin to believe that life is not a gift in itself, but a race we must win to deserve happiness. And in that race, we lose sight of the very ground we run on. We forget that life is not an exam to be passed, but an experience to be felt. We forget that we are not machines built only to perform, but living beings born to feel, to connect, to reflect. In chasing milestones, we neglect moments. In pursuing more, we overlook what we already have. What makes this dangerous is that it happens so subtly. You don't wake up one day and say, I no longer feel grateful to be alive. Instead, you stop noticing the beauty around you. You stop hearing the laughter of a child as something sacred. You stop marveling at the way the sky turns pink at dusk. The sacred becomes routine, the miraculous becomes mundane, and yet, every breath is a miracle, every heartbeat is unearned, a silent gift that keeps giving whether we pay attention or not. Life is still offering itself to us, but are we still receiving it? Most of us are not, because we've become too busy, too distracted, too conditioned to chase rather than to cherish. And so, slowly, unconsciously, we forget that simply being alive is already enough. From the earliest stages of life, we are taught that our value lies not in who we are, but in what we accomplish. The child is praised not for their joy, but for their grades. The adult is respected not for their inner peace, but for their job title or income. Society plants the idea early: you are only as good as what you can produce. And so, a silent transaction begins, one where we trade our presence, our peace, and our authenticity in exchange for performance, approval, and external reward. Instead of sitting with ourselves and asking, what truly brings me meaning, we rush to meet the expectations set by others. We strive to become successful, admired, validated, but in that striving, we begin to disconnect from our inner being. We forget how to just be, to sit in a quiet room and feel alive without the need to achieve anything at all. We become actors in a play we never wrote, performing roles assigned by culture, tradition, and ambition. We shape our personalities around what the world wants to see, what will get us the job, the recognition, the applause. And in doing so, we abandon the stillness within us, the place where joy lives without condition. There is a spiritual cost to constantly becoming. It keeps us suspended in the future, always reaching, always hoping, always chasing. I will be happy when becomes the mantra of the unconscious mind, but that moment of happiness, of arrival, never truly comes. Because even when we achieve what we set out for, the mind has already moved the goalpost. It whispers more. It says next. It tells us that being content now is laziness, that we must constantly reinvent, upgrade, compete. The truth is, the human being was never meant to function like a machine. We are not meant to run endlessly without pause, without reflection, without purpose deeper than profit. The soul does not thrive on checklists or competition. It thrives on connection, on meaning, on the quiet sense that we are aligned with who we truly are. But modern life rarely gives us the space to remember that. There is always something to do, somewhere to go, someone to impress, and so our presence fades. We sit with family but check our phones. We go for walks but listen to podcasts instead of nature. We look in the mirror, but we don't see ourselves anymore. Presence, unlike performance, has no finish line. It is not a destination to be reached, but a way of living. It invites us to slow down, to breathe, to notice, to realize that we are not behind, we are not late. We are exactly where we need to be, not because of what we've done, but because we are alive, conscious, and capable of experiencing this moment fully. But this remembering, this return to being rather than becoming, requires courage. It requires stepping off the treadmill and confronting the silence we've been avoiding. It means realizing that our worth was never in the noise we create, but in the stillness we carry within. In a world obsessed with the extraordinary, the simple is often dismissed. But if you slow down and truly observe, you'll begin to see that what we call ordinary is actually miraculous. Take the breath, for instance. It moves through you every moment of your life. You don't earn it. You don't control it consciously. It simply happens, a gift offered freely, without judgment, without effort. Yet how many times a day do you stop and appreciate this silent rhythm that keeps you alive? We tend to chase big achievements, dramatic transformations, or impressive goals. But in that pursuit, we miss the everyday marvels that quietly sustain us. The ability to open your eyes in the morning and see color, light, the face of a loved one, that is a miracle. The fact that your legs carry you without complaint, that your heart beats without needing to be told, that your skin can feel the wind, these are silent wonders we grow numb to. We overlook them because they are always there. We've been conditioned to believe that value lies in rarity, in novelty, in what can be bought or admired. But life's true richness lies not in what is rare, but in what is constant, and yet we fail to see it. Awareness is the foundation of this recognition. Without awareness, you could be surrounded by beauty and never notice it. A flower blooms outside your window, but you scroll past it. A child laughs nearby, but your mind is elsewhere. The warmth of your morning coffee, the softness of your blanket, the sound of birdsong, all these are gentle invitations back to presence. But if you are asleep to them, life becomes dull and gray, no matter how successful you are on paper. The tragedy is not that these gifts are rare. The tragedy is that they are common, and we've stopped valuing them because of their constancy. Breath comes easy, so we take it for granted. Sight is always available, so we overlook its wonder. Movement is automatic, so we forget how sacred it is. Until the day we can't move without pain. When you begin to notice these small things, truly notice them, they become profound. The simple act of sitting in the sunlight becomes nourishment. The sound of rain becomes music. The feeling of gratitude arises not because something extraordinary happened, but because you remembered to see what was already there, and in that moment of awareness, life shifts. The world doesn't change, but your way of seeing it does. You begin to feel more alive, not because you added anything, but because you finally started paying attention. These simple gifts, breath, movement, sight, awareness are always available, but they ask something in return, your presence. They ask you to slow down, to be still, to feel, to reconnect. It's a strange paradox. We often remember the preciousness of life only when it is threatened. When the doctor calls with unexpected news. When an accident happens. When someone we love is suddenly gone, and we never got the chance to say goodbye. In those moments, everything stops. The noise of the world fades into the background. Time slows down. Suddenly, the only thing that matters is the one thing we were too busy to acknowledge: being alive. In crisis, we wake up. The trivial worries that consumed us, deadlines, opinions, appearances, melt away under the weight of mortality. We cry not just from pain or fear, but from the realization that we were sleepwalking through life, that we had something so valuable and didn't know it until it was almost gone. Loss strips away illusion. It exposes what really matters. But why must it take a collapse to awaken us? Why must life shake us violently to remind us of its worth? True wisdom is not found in the reaction to pain. It is found in the cultivation of awareness before pain arrives. It is the ability to remember the value of life without needing to lose it first. A wise person doesn't wait for a storm to feel the ground beneath their feet. They bow to it every day. They wake up with gratitude not because everything is perfect, but because they understand that nothing is guaranteed. Yet, the modern mind resists this kind of reflection. It delays gratitude. It postpones presence. It says, I'll be grateful once I'm successful, once I'm healthy, once I'm safe. But life does not work like that. It is unpredictable, fragile, constantly changing. You can't schedule your awakening for a convenient time. Life doesn't wait until you're ready to appreciate it. Crisis forces clarity. It silences distraction. When you are lying in a hospital bed, You don't think about how many likes your last photo got. You don't wonder if you were good enough for someone's expectations. You think of the people you love. You think of the moments you took for granted. You think of time, not how much you spent, but how much you wasted. And in those moments, you might say things like, if I could just go back, I would slow down, I would say thank you more, I would notice the sky, I would listen longer, I would forgive faster. But the truth is, you can go back, not to the past, but to the present. You can choose now to remember what life is before something forces you to. You can honor it in the way you breathe, in the way you speak to others, in how gently you treat yourself and the world around you. This is not dramatic. It doesn't require a life-altering event. It requires intention, a moment of silence, a willingness to see clearly, because in reality, the opportunity to be present, to be grateful, to be awake, is always here. It never left. We just stopped looking for it. We often live as if life is endless. We delay what truly matters. We say things like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll apologize later. I'll take that trip someday. But life is not promised in units of years or decades. It is given moment by moment. And at any point, without warning, it can be taken back. This is not meant to inspire fear. It is meant to awaken reverence. Impermanence is not a flaw in life. It is the very thing that gives life its depth. Imagine if nothing ever changed. No seasons, no endings, no growth. What would love mean if it were not fleeting? What would time mean if it were not limited? What would sunrise mean if there were no night before it? The truth is, everything we touch is temporary. People, places, feelings, even our own bodies, all are in constant motion, always evolving, always on the verge of becoming something else. The flowers bloom and wither. Children grow, friends drift away, nothing stays, and because nothing stays, everything is valuable. Yet, most people resist this truth. We cling to things, to people, to identities. We try to hold on, to freeze time, to keep what we love from changing. But clinging only creates suffering. Life was never meant to be held. It was meant to be experienced, and experiences, by nature, pass. This is why the awareness of impermanence is so important. When you truly accept that everything is temporary, you begin to treat life differently. You slow down, you speak with more kindness, you listen more deeply, you savor the food you eat, you appreciate the people around you, you stop wasting time in anger and judgment because you know those minutes can't be returned. You start to see that this moment, no matter how ordinary it may seem, is unique. You will never live this exact moment again. The way the light falls through the window, the feeling in your chest, the sound of your breath, the beating of your heart, all of it is happening now and only now. And what a gift that is! When you embrace impermanence, you stop waiting for life to begin. You realize it's already happening, not in some distant future, not after you fix everything, but right here in the raw, unscripted flow of now. Each day becomes a chance not to control, but to participate, not to hold on, but to engage, not to fear the end, but to fully meet the middle. Impermanence gives us urgency, but not panic. It gives us permission to let go of perfection, because we know the clock doesn't pause for us to get everything right. It moves on, and so must we, consciously, presently, lovingly. When you live with the awareness that everything is passing, you no longer chase forever. You begin to treasure the temporary. You begin to live more gently, more intentionally, more alive. Many people believe gratitude is something that arises spontaneously, like a spark in moments of celebration or joy. And while it's true that gratitude can be felt during moments of happiness, like when receiving a gift, achieving a goal, or hearing good news. True, deep gratitude goes much further than emotional reactions. It is not a mood. It is not dependent on events going our way. Gratitude, when understood properly, is a discipline, a practice, a lens through which we choose to see the world, even when there is nothing outwardly special happening. If you only feel grateful when life is perfect, you've misunderstood what gratitude really is. Real gratitude shows up when nothing is going according to plan. When the weather is gloomy, when the work is stressful, when the body is tired, still, in those moments, the heart can whisper, "Thank you. I am alive. I am breathing. I have another chance." But this doesn't happen by accident. It requires training the mind to slow down and look beneath the surface. Most people are conditioned to notice what's missing. We scan our lives for problems, for gaps, for things we wish were different. And so, even when we have more than we once prayed for, we feel a sense of lack. Gratitude reverses that habit. It teaches us to look again, deeper. Think about the things that are always with you: your breath, your heartbeat, your senses, your ability to think, to feel, to choose. These are miracles we carry silently every single day, yet we rarely pause to thank them because they've become part of the background. But if we were to lose any one of them, even for a few hours, we'd immediately realize how precious they were. This is the beauty of practiced gratitude. It gives value back to what's already here. It turns routine into ritual. It transforms a simple glass of water into a sacred moment of nourishment. It turns a quiet walk into a celebration of movement. It takes nothing for granted, not because it is sentimental, but because it understands the fragile nature of life. Gratitude also breaks the spell of dissatisfaction. In a world that constantly tells us we need more success, more wealth, more followers, more speed, gratitude teaches us to be content now, not later. It doesn't mean we stop growing. It means we grow from a place of fullness, not emptiness. It says, "I can improve, but I already have enough." That shift in perspective can change everything. But here's the secret most people overlook. Gratitude is not something you wait for. It's something you do. Even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it, you write it down, you say it aloud, you pause during your busy day and choose to notice the beauty that surrounds you. Over time, this daily practice rewires the mind to seek out what's good, what's working, what's already here. And the more you do this, the more alive you feel, because the act of noticing, truly noticing what is beautiful and valuable around you, pulls you back into the present. It anchors you to reality. It reminds you that no matter what chaos is happening externally, there is always something, however small, to be thankful for. In the chaos of modern life, stillness has become a forgotten language. We are constantly doing, thinking, moving, reacting. Rarely do we stop long enough to ask, where am I right now? Am I even here? Our minds are often 10 steps ahead or clinging to something that's already past. The result? We become disconnected from the only place where life truly unfolds, the present moment. But there is a doorway back, and it's always been there. That doorway is the breath. Your breath is the most honest part of you. It doesn't pretend, it doesn't rush, it doesn't lie. It flows in and out, regardless of your worries, your plans, your regrets. It is the rhythm of life itself, a quiet reminder that you are alive, now, in this moment. When you return to your breath, even for a few seconds, you interrupt the endless stream of mental noise. You reclaim space between your thoughts. That space is not empty. It is alive, aware, grounding. In that space, the pressure to perform fades. The need to solve everything disappears. What remains is being pure and untouched, Stillness is not about the absence of activity. It is the quality of your attention within the activity. You can be walking, working, even speaking, and still be rooted in stillness. This inner calmness doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. In fact, the opposite is true. When you operate from stillness, you become more focused, more intentional, more awake. Yet stillness is not easy to access when we've spent years fleeing from it. Most people are uncomfortable in silence. We reach for distractions the moment quietness arises. Why? Because silence forces us to confront ourselves. It reveals the thoughts we've been suppressing, the emotions we've been avoiding, but those very truths are what we need to heal, to grow, to remember what matters. The breath becomes a bridge, a simple but profound tool to return to that silence without fear. Each inhale invites you to arrive, each exhale invites you to release. With every breath, you are reminded, I am here, I am safe, I am alive. This reconnection doesn't require a retreat or a temple. It can happen in your kitchen, on a crowded train, at your desk. You simply pause, you notice the air flowing in, you feel your body being breathed, and suddenly the world slows down, the noise loses its grip. The anxiety begins to loosen. You remember that beneath the surface of all your roles and responsibilities, there is a calm, steady awareness that has always been there, watching, waiting, patient. And from that awareness, gratitude flows naturally. Clarity arises, peace returns, not because your circumstances changed, but because your relationship with the moment changed. You came back home to yourself. We've been conditioned to associate miracles with rare, dramatic events, things that defy logic or break the natural order. But the greatest miracle is not in what's rare. It's in what's always been here. The miracle is awareness, not awareness as a vague concept, but the real, living, moment-to-moment consciousness that allows you to perceive, reflect, and feel. Think about it. You can see, you can hear, you can feel emotion, you can notice your own thoughts, you can observe the world, choose how to respond, pause before acting, change your habits, change your life. This level of self-reflective awareness is not ordinary, it is profound, and yet most people never truly explore it. They are too busy chasing achievements to notice the awareness that makes all achievement possible. The culture we live in glorifies results. It teaches us that we matter because of what we produce, how many followers we have, how far we've climbed, how successful we appear. And so we spend years building things outside of ourselves, careers, reputations, possessions, while our inner world remains unexplored. But achievement without awareness is empty. It brings temporary satisfaction, then leaves a silent question echoing within. Is this all? Awareness changes that. When you become aware, truly aware, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The light filtering through the window, the way someone's eyes soften when they smile, the sensation of wind across your face, these things take on a deeper dimension. They're no longer just background noise, they become sacred experiences, not because they changed, but because you did. Awareness allows you to see life as it really is, not just through the lens of goals, ego, or fear. You begin to witness the interconnectedness of all things, the subtle beauty in simplicity, the temporary nature of pain, the quiet strength within vulnerability. You realize that nothing is lacking in the present moment except your willingness to be with it. And in that space of presence, something profound unfolds. You begin to feel whole, not because you've accomplished everything on your list, but because you finally see what's always been with you. The need to prove yourself fades. The hunger for validation quiets. You stop measuring your life by what you have and start measuring it by how fully you're living. This is the true power of awareness. It doesn't change the external world. It changes how you relate to it. And in doing so, it transforms your experience of being alive. You become softer, more compassionate, more open, not because you tried to force it, but because when you truly see, you can't help but love. You can't help but feel reverence for yourself, for others, for this fleeting, fragile, beautiful thing called life. So now, take a deep breath and remember, you were never missing anything. You were simply looking in the wrong direction. Life is not waiting to begin someday. It's happening right now, in this breath, in this moment, in you. You don't need to climb a mountain to find purpose. You don't need to chase approval to find peace. You only need to wake up to the miracle you've already been given. Start today, open your eyes, be present, honor the simple things and live, not just by existing, but by feeling every heartbeat like it matters. Because it does. You didn't come here to survive. You came here to awaken, to remember, to live fully. And if this message stirred something inside you, if you're ready to live with more depth, more awareness, and more purpose, then subscribe to this channel. Join this growing circle of mindful souls. Your support allows these words to reach more hearts who, like you, are searching for meaning in the noise. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And most of all, thank you for remembering that life is a gift. Hit that subscribe button. Share your thoughts in the comments and show your support so we can continue creating powerful messages for souls like yours. We'll meet again in stillness.